Okay. So, good evening, everyone who is joining us for today's webinar, Heal Yourself to Have Healthy Relationships, conducted by Abundant Life Group. We take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for registering and joining us today. What's so special about today? Not just one, but two things. The first being today is marked globally as the World Mental Health Day, which is observed as International Day for Global Mental Health Education, Awareness, and Advocacy against Social Stigma. And secondly, today, Abundant Life Group starts its series of free webinars, which will be conducted every Saturday, covering different topics with different experts and wide variety of knowledge. And yeah, did I mention free webinars? Abundant Life Group is an organization which provides a wide range of psychological services like psychological counseling, psychological assessments, psychological trainings, counseling courses, psychological internships, to name a few, along with conducting successful events like student development program, employee enhancement program, youth guidance program, and so on. For more information regarding our upcoming webinars, live sessions, do connect with us through our social media by liking us on Facebook, following on Instagram, and subscribing us on YouTube. And do visit our website, www.abundantlifegroup.co.in, for more information regarding our psychological services. So before we begin with our webinar, I would request the participants who joined on the Zoom platform to kindly mute yourself. The chat box is open for your questions and comments, but please do not post any question or statement which is controversial and would deliberately affect the sentiments of people. We will take most of your questions during the Q&A session after the presentation. Many of your questions could be answered in the presentation itself. Along with abundant knowledge, for those of you who registered, you will receive a feedback form during the session, and the participants staying for full session would also be receiving e-certificates. With that being said, I hand over the dais to Ms. Jocelyn Jacob, the Chief Coordinator of this session, to address the gathering and welcome our resource person. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sanjana, for orienting people with Abundant Life Group so beautifully. And I'm Jocelyn Jacob, psychologist and chief coordinator at Abundant Life. So without further ado, let me drop the spotlight on and introduce the eminent resource person for today's webinar. So among us, we have Christina Franklin. She's a psychotherapist along with mastery in rebirthing and breath work. She comes with 17 years of experience in psychotherapy, counseling, and inner healing. So, on behalf of Abundant Life, I welcome you all and I hand over the session to Christina ma'am.
Okay. Thanks to both of you. Thanks to Abundant Life and thanks to everyone who's joining in. It gives me immense joy that so many of you are interested in knowing how healing can help with relationships. I think healing as a word has been given much less importance than it should be given. I did my psychotherapy 17 years ago from Montfort College in Bangalore. And after doing psychotherapy, which is fantastic, it's a beautiful introduction to people and personalities and mental illness and all of that, I realized I wanted more. There's something else that we need to complete our journey as human beings and to guide us through our challenges. And going within us is what gave the answers. So today I will take you through some of the things. So firstly, I'll take you through the concept of why I say healing for healthy relationships. And then I will also tell you about different kinds of spiritual journeys one can take. So you can take up your own spiritual journey depending on which journey. To start with something called 20 connected breaths, tell you how it goes, and then we will all do it together. So it's called 20 connected breaths, and it's 4 short breaths and 1 long breath, and 4 cycles of that. So that makes it 20. So I will show you how it's done. I will show you 1 cycle, and then all of us together will do it, do the 4 cycles. Okay? So I'm going to keep the mic closer to my nose so you can hear my breathing. So this is 1 cycle. So that was 4 short breaths and 1 long breaths. Now we'll all do it together. If you noticed, I connected the inhale with the exhale. I did not pause between breaths. So let's connect them and do 20 connected breaths. Now, start with me. Again. Again. Last time. Now just stay with yourself in silence. Some of you might feel vibrations in your body. Just allow that to be. And now if you happen to have a little cushion or pillow next to you, just hug that if you happen to have. Otherwise, just put your arms around yourself like I'm doing. Just put your arms around yourself. So it's like you're giving yourself a hug. And keep your eyes closed. And look at your own face within you. With your eyes closed inside, look at your own face. And just say hello to yourself. Like if I were to say, I would say, "Hi, Christina. So how are you doing today?" I'd like you to say that to yourself. And as you do that, feel you. Inside. And just ask the same question, how are you today? And listen to what your inner self is saying. Don't try to argue or analyze or judge. Just listen. What is this inner you telling you? How are you today? and say, I want to thrive in my life. Say that you're saying this to yourself, okay? So keep your eyes closed, your hands on your heart or with a hug, or you're hugging a pillow. These things help us connect better with ourselves. When you hug yourself or hug a pillow and keep your hand on your chest. And after you've asked, how are you today? You say, tell that inner you that I want to thrive in my relationships. I want to enjoy complete, beautiful relationships. And I want your help to do this. So you're saying this to your inner self. I want your help to do this. Show me. Show me the way and let's do this together. Now, one question. Ask yourself, what is the one thing that I want to know about relationships that I'm struggling with? One question I have that I'm searching for answers to. Ask just one question. Don't worry about the 100 questions that your mind might be wanting to know answers to. Just ask one question. What do I want to know? Take 3 deep breaths. If you haven't got the answers, don't worry. What I'm taking you through are exercises that you can do at any time. So you can try this again at home by yourself, and you might get many more questions. And you might be able to connect with yourself even more deeply. So spend more time, 30 minutes, 45 minutes with yourself, just connecting, knowing yourself. Okay. Now I'll go into why healing for healthy relationships. And what do I mean when I say healing? What are you healing? All of us have a physical body that we can see. And we also have our energy body. We are surrounded by energy inside our body and outside our body. In this energy, which is around us, lies our past. Things that happened in our childhood, things that we remember and we don't, what is in our subconscious mind, which we cannot remember. And some instances, memories, we do remember, so that we are conscious of. Those chunks of memories lie in our energy and attract people in our lives to point us to those little or big chunks of memories that are yet to heal in us. And every single person or challenge that we encounter is a pathway guiding us to this one chunk, different chunks that we are carrying. And so, what does it mean to heal? It means when somebody triggers us, I take that trigger and then I say, what part of my past is this triggering? Is it just about present? It usually is not. It'll trigger something emotionally, and there's always something in the past that is needing to heal. If there's nothing to heal, you will not get triggered by what's happening. You will be in the same situation, you can be calm. So being triggered is a good sign or clue to know that there's something that needs healing. And so it's important to look at that. And once that heals, either the challenge will go away or the challenge can stay, but it is no more a challenge for us. Let me give you an example. I'll tell you a story of this wonderful woman who is married to a young man. This woman struggled with the fear of unfaithfulness. She saw that somebody in her family, a couple, the husband was cheating the wife with another woman, and she witnessed this as a 6-year-old and 7-year-old kid. And so from then on, she grew with this fear of, if I get married, I never want this to happen to me. And somehow the fear was there, but it became softer and softer at the back of the mind. It wasn't blaring in the face. And then when she got into a relationship, she made sure that she got into a relationship with a man who has already had girlfriends, enough girlfriends. So she said, if I pick a man who's already had many relationships, who knows what relationships are like, then there's a high possibility that he will not cheat me. And so she picked a man who had had many relationships. And then they were married and they were happy for some time. And then challenges started, many, many challenges. And after about 10 to 12 years of marriage, she saw that, oh my goodness, her husband was always cheating on her. So she did everything to make sure that this person is an experienced person and never cheats, because she had this fear, you see. And then she figured that the fear came true. There was so much baggage, unhealed baggage and trauma from having witnessed this particular couple in her childhood who were going through unfaithfulness, that she feared it so much. But she buried the trauma. It was there at the back of the mind as a small memory. But she didn't think it played such a big role in her life. And this blew up, and whatever, that's the story goes, and her experiences lead her to many journeys. That's one side of it. So what am I trying to say here? One is, because she went through this traumatic event as a child, she, from her mind, was trying to fix her life so that it never repeats. It never happens to her. High level of fear at the same time, trying to fix something. So the relationship goes perfect, you see. I don't know how many of you have watched Kung Fu Panda. There is a situation where the turtle and Oogway, and there is the rabbit. I forget his name. And then there is the panda. And so one day there is a duck that comes to this Oogway, the rabbit, and says there is the enemy, a leopard, the enemy leopard. He might be out. He might be free. He is in prison, but he's free. And so the rabbit is so stressed that this enemy leopard is free and might head towards their monastery. And so he rushes to this turtle, who is the wise master, Oogway, and says, I'm very afraid that this leopard is going to be heading towards us. And then Oogway, the turtle, as slow as he is and wise as he is gentle. And he says, okay. And sorry, I think I mixed up a little bit. So Oogway calls the rabbit because he hears that this leopard is out. Okay. So that's all. That's the part I've mixed up. So the rabbit and Oogway are together. And then the rabbit is so afraid that this leopard is out. At that time, he calls the duck, actually. And he tells, go to that prison where this leopard is and make sure that the leopard is completely imprisoned and guarded by all these guards, and sends him. And at that point, Oogway says a beautiful, beautiful dialogue. He says, it's funny how we create our destiny when we are afraid, you see. Whatever we are running from, we make sure we bring it closer. He says a beautiful statement to kind of explain what I just said, which is what most of us tend to do when we have unhealed past and fears. Out of those fears, we act, and what we do is whatever we are running away from, we make sure it comes and dines with us. You see? So, this example I gave you of this woman who was making sure that this man doesn't cheat her. She said, I'm going to pick a guy who's had girlfriends, who's done all of these things. So he'll never cheat me. So he'll be satisfied, and he'll want a deeper relationship and connection. And what did she do? The truth of it is, she chose a womanizer. He was a playboy. And she had no idea. So that's how we invite what we are running away from into our life. Now, this was an intense example. But in the same way, we might be attracting so many challenges in our relationships based on what we are carrying in our energy and our subconscious mind. I'll give you one more example and then I'll tell you uh, how we can go about it. There was another girl, she was one of a client, and she used to tell me that her father used to think she was not intelligent. And interestingly, every job she went to, her boss, her colleagues would think she was dumb. And they would openly say, you're so dumb. And she would come, and every single session we had, she would cry for 90 minutes, sob. And she would quit the job because she would get so tired. And then she would go to another job. And interestingly, in that job, she would meet, if there were two people calling her dumb in the previous job, in this job, there would be 4 to 5 people calling her dumb. And so it will get more and more intense, which is what happens when we kind of run away and we think we can move on to the next situation without growing from the challenge that's thrown to us. So basically, what's happening is, when in her first job, when people were saying she's less intelligent, her childhood wound was getting triggered. So the best way to have handled is to clear that heal that wound, so she doesn't feel dumb anymore. And in the same job, even though people call her dumb, if she can feel like that's not true and not get affected, not because she is pretending not to get affected, but because she is so clear in her mind that she's not dumb. I am not dumb. I am fantastic. I'm intelligent. If that had happened, then the next job or the same job, either the situation would have changed or she would have found that she is so unaffected and so happy and knows who she is and doesn't believe what these people are telling her. Now, given these two examples, if some of you are already in relationships, you can see that your spouses, your boyfriend, girlfriend, your children, everyone is always triggering you to see what is not yet healed in you. A trigger can be a blessing. While it's getting triggered, you want to just probably just punch the person or run away or tear your hair apart, or there's reactions. But each trigger that's coming is saying, hey, look inside. There's something that needs to heal. So if this girl who was feeling dumb had healed, basically everybody that's triggering is saying you should be free at a soul level. You see, they are not doing it with, they may not be doing it with good intentions. They might be just demeaning her. But at the same time, at the energy level, they are actually helping the person heal and get over this issue that's actually tearing this person apart. You see? And if this other example that I gave you, the other girl who was afraid of unfaithfulness had healed the unfaithfulness, the fear and the pain she felt when she saw this particular family member who was being unfaithful, and all that she observed and learned, and if she had spoken about it and healed it, there's a high possibility she wouldn't have felt like, oh, if somebody cheats me, I will be devastated. There's a high possibility she would have instead felt like, if somebody cheats me, it's okay. I'll be okay. So if she had reached that place where she's not afraid of it, there's a high possibility she wouldn't have chosen a man who would cheat on her. So those are two different kinds of examples that I've given. So what am I trying to say? We have to heal our childhood. That's the one big chunk of healing that we have to go through to understand and build a beautiful connection with ourselves. And so that will help us connect with others, whether it's your spouse, your romantic partner, or your children, or your family, colleagues, any relationship you can take. You will be able to relate better once you've healed. Otherwise, we are working out of this past baggage. That's one part. Now, the second part is the things that we don't know of, which is in our subconscious mind, which is what is ruling our life. How do we clear that? So I can tell you some of the things that I do and some of the things that I know of. And you can start off with whichever works for you. What is in our subconscious is not available in our memory, so we don't know what we're carrying. So the same way when things are triggered, they can come into our conscious, or there's something called breath work, which is a short exercise that I made you all do, is 20 connected breaths. That's an exercise that you can do at any time in the day to shift your emotions. And but you just have to make sure you're sitting down, because sometimes you can feel dizzy. So you have to be sitting down and be careful, not driving or anything like that. The same way, we do something called breath work, which is a 90-minute, approximately 90-minute session where we connect our breaths. And when we breathe, we see that energy comes into our body, and that brings up what we are storing in our subconscious mind. And then we become conscious of it, and then we can clear it. So, and that's given as one-on-one sessions. Please don't try it. It's because sometimes if a big trauma comes up and you're alone, it shouldn't become an added trauma. So unless you are intuitively really strong and you know that you want to just see how that works. Breath work is one. In breath work, we also teach people how to use the other elements of fire. Earth, water, and breath is the air. What do we do with fire? We sit with an open flame of fire, either a wood fire. Wood fire is my favorite. Or you can sit with candles, and practice of making fire a part of our life can help clear a lot from our subconscious mind. These are very simple practices. You cannot logically understand it. So don't try to, if some of you are psychotherapists and all that, don't try to keep analyzing and say, how. Instead, go and try. Go in the evenings when it's not so hot. Try sitting with an open flame of fire on a tired day. And after about 90 minutes, see if you feel better. See if anything has changed. And if it's making you feel better, then why not? I have seen in my work that making people sit with fire for long hours heals depression in the long run. They don't need medication. But if you are on medication, please don't stop just listening to me. You have to be under guidance. So, very slowly, these are all journeys. So, don't just take drastic measures, but get in touch with me and I can guide you on how you can go about it, how you can blend psychotherapy and all of these other ways to heal. So, sitting with an open flame of fire can bring out and clear subconscious mind apart from breath work. The third is water, allowing water, consciously having 2 baths a day or consciously soaking in a bathtub. When I say consciously, I'm saying we don't just mechanically have a bath, but you tell the water, please heal me, show me how to allow you to cleanse my energy, not just my physical body. And then you can soak in the bathtub, in a warm water bathtub. Most of them who soak get in touch with their womb memories. It can come up and it comes up when it's safe. So, soaking is a good way. As breath workers, what we do is once people have done a few breathwork sessions, we call dry sessions when they just breathe on the bed or a mat. After they've done enough, we take them through something called wet breathing sessions, which is we take them through breathing in a bathtub. So the memory of the womb memory becomes fresh. And then they clear it by continuing to breathe. And the third is the earth element, which is eating food that gives energy instead of takes energy. And what do I mean by that? I am a non vegetarian still, trying to become a vegetarian. But I have noticed that every time after I've worked on myself enough, I've done enough energy work. Before I could never feel all this, but after I did enough energy work, I would see that every time I had some meat, I would feel some kind of an emotional pain or my body would start hurting. Especially if I ate chicken, my shoulder would start to hurt. And then I realized that it's the pain that this particular animal has felt throughout that's there in the energy. And so it was draining me. And then I would go do my fire and then I will feel better. But at the same time, when you have a fruit or other, vegetarian things, it gives energy. So having a healthy diet that works for us, and these are all, everything I'm saying is not for you to take and say, okay, from today I'm going to do this as a rule. No. Please start with what you connect with because it's your journey, it's unique to you. What works for somebody else may not work for you. So it's if one formula worked, all our human problems would have been already solved long ago. But it's not meant to be solved simply because we are meant to learn and grow and evolve. And so each of our journey is very unique. And so we have to acknowledge our uniqueness. If something worked for 1,000 people and doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. And you have to just accept it. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It just doesn't work for you. And if something never worked for 1,000 people but is working for you, take it. It works for you. That's it. It's your journey. That's how you understand who you are. And so that's the earth element. So you can start practicing any of the things I've told you, except for breath work, but you can definitely do your 20 connected breaths on a regular basis and see which ones make you feel great, and you can continue to do that. So when we heal what is in our subconscious mind, and when we heal what is in our conscious mind from the past, we start to empty the cup. We start becoming an empty cup, like the Buddha says. We become lighter and lighter within, and we know who we are. It's easier to go deeper. It's easier to get in touch with our intuition. Our intuition starts getting stronger and stronger because it becomes easier to clear our thoughts. You see, it becomes easier to be aware of each thought because there are no heavy emotions anymore. And so step by step, we start becoming stronger from within. Our inner self, we know who we are, and then we are able to connect with our intuition and feel guided by the intuition. And then we will be able to be in the present moment a lot more easier than before. And so our cup starts to become empty. And then we can fill it with what we decide to fill, not what was filled, but we become masters of our lives and we decide what we want to fill our cups with. So that's why I say we need to heal to enjoy relationships, because most of the time, if we don't heal, if I have to take the same example, I will be looking for something else outside to help me. If I missed on feeling loved by my mother, I will keep looking for a boyfriend that makes me feel loved and gives me what I want. And then maybe in the beginning he will, but after that he might get fed up. It doesn't work in the long run. I have to love me. I am the biggest, best lover I can have for myself. If I can love who I am and enjoy who I am so much and feel complete within me, then we become two whole people who are getting in a relationship, you see. And it becomes, as a parent, it becomes so much more joyful to be a parent once we have healed, because then we can see our child for who they are instead of being colored by our own past. So let's just take 2 or 3 deep breaths. I think I'm open for questions now. I would like to ask all of you, before you ask a question, please stay with your intuition and intuitively ask. And don't feel like all your questions need to be answered right away. You have the Abundant Life email. I'll give you my email. You can always get in touch. This is not the end, it's just the beginning. And know that when you're ready, when you decide that you want to heal and you want to take this journey, the right teachers, the right books, the right courses, everything will come to you. So it's only about deciding that you want the journey. My email is Abundant Life might also put in, I can also text it. It's chrisshakti@gmail.com. CHRIS, Chris, SHAKTI, Shakti@gmail.com. chrisshakti@gmail.com. So great. Okay, so everybody's got it now, and I can take questions now.
Wow, that was an amazing session. Don't you think, people? So, as ma'am said, she is open for questions now. So, if you have any questions, please put it in the chat box and we would take them one by one.
How does one practice self-love? Thank you for asking. So the day you decide that you want to love yourself is a good first step to start self-love. You can do the exercises I told you today. Hugging yourself, hugging a pillow, and talking to yourself. So basically, when you do that, what you're saying, I am important and I want to give myself time. So you're in a date with yourself. And that date is very important to have. So start dating yourself, giving yourself time. And then and then you can heal. Healing is the best way to give oneself. So you can feel happiness and joy. And yeah, so does that answer your question? I hope it did. So practicing to start connecting to yourself and healing yourself. I'll tell you one definition of self-love. Self-love is complete self-approval and self-acceptance. Self-love is complete self-approval and self-acceptance. And that's a journey. It can't happen in one day. It's a journey that you decide to take.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for taking up that question. So we also have a question which says, do you recommend some books for self-love?
Just write to me and I'll give you a list of books. Yeah, write to me. Right now, offhand, I can't think of self-love books. I usually look at videos, so on YouTube. So I'll have to think and get back. So I think you are the best person. Each one is the best person to know how to love yourself because you are the master and you know how you want to be loved, to feel loved. So you have to start doing that. Buy flowers if you like for yourself, not because it's a celebration in the house, but because I want to feel loved. Buy plants, buy things that you like and do things that you like. Like if you like spending time doing art, then you should do that. And that's self-love. That will be a good idea to send the recording. Yes.
Thank you so much, ma'am. There's one more question which says, when
I
I
can
practice
read actually.
self-love and walk this path of healing, I feel
Uh-huh.
like my immediate caregivers ruin whatever progress I make. How do I handle that?
Yes, welcome to the journey. That's the first step of the journey that tends to happen. So basically, when you start the journey, your caregivers are triggering you. So through the trigger, if you can stay and continue, you will become stronger with your own practice. So they are basically pushing you down. So anyone that is pushing you down or hurting you is telling you, we love you so much. We want you to get stronger. So remember that sentence. Though they may not be saying that, they'll be saying something absolutely opposite and putting you down or demeaning you. In your heart, you should know that this is coming to me to make me stronger in my practice.
And we have another question says, how does one heal when you're not in a comfortable and conducive environment?
You can't heal. You have to go to a conducive environment. So if you're in a house, if you're meaning you're in a family which is not conducive, you have therapists and you go and you go to retreats. I personally do a 9-day live-in retreat. Now with the virus, I don't do live-in, but we do have to online retreats. So you go to somebody that makes you feel comfortable so that you can continue your healing journey while you are in an environment that's not supportive.
Okay, the next question says, how can someone feel self-love when one is constantly given criticism? We can practice it by ourselves, but how can we teach them self-love?
It's better not to teach anybody. You just practice for yourself. That's when each one has to be ready to love themselves. You cannot make anybody love themselves. You cannot, because it's a journey they have to take. So for you, if they're criticizing you, I can tell you how you can start loving yourself is you take the criticism, you go back and say, is this true for myself? If they say you're dumb, is this true? Am I dumb? And then you see places where you're not dumb. or you see if you need inner child work. Now, inner child work, I am doing a 3-week course starting next week with Abundant Life, where I will be taking you through how to do inner child work. You see? So you can attend the course and learn more techniques on how you can do that. So when somebody criticizes, you go and see if I need inner child work. What do I need? And then you talk to yourself, and then you use that. Basically, it's a lemon that's thrown at you, and you're making lemonade out of it. You see? So you take that, and then you see what do I need to heal, and then you evolve using that.
Okay, so the next question says, how best to heal from abusive relationships and trust people again?
Yes, so you need inner child work for abusive relationships. Once you do inner child work, you'll see that it strengthens you. And trusting people, see, one thing to know to trust people is when you trust yourself is when it's easier to trust others. What I mean by that is when I can trust my own intuition. When my attention and focus is outside and I'm looking for, like if you read Cosmopolitan and whatever magazines and say, oh, these are the things I should do, so I know somebody's being faithful or not, those things work for some time, but that's not how it goes. You have to trust your heart. When your heart says this person is not right for you, you have to shut up and listen. you know
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for that question. The next question says, why one can't help expecting love from significant others?
Say that again.
Why one can't help expecting love from significant others?
I don't think I still got it. Tell me one more thing. What's your name?
My
From
name?
Abundant Life. Yes.
I'm Sanjana.
Sanjana. Okay. So Sanjana, how long is my session today?
Until 5:30, ma'am.
Oh, so there's just it's just an hour. I thought it was 90 minutes.
If you want to extend, we can extend it. If you
Yeah, I'm
want
fine
to
with that.
share more,
If
we are
people have
open to
more
extend.
questions.
Yeah.
Okay, if people have
Sure.
questions, surely. Yeah. So now you tell me that last question you read, please.
Okay, so the question reads like, why one can't help expecting love from significant others? I believe it is with respect
You
to
can't help
expecting love.
you can't help expecting love from others because you are not looking at the vacuum inside you and you're not loving yourself. So you always want somebody else to love you to make you feel great. You don't know. The thing is, I've told people that when you fall in love, half your childhood issues come up. When you have children, the other half comes up. So if we don't look within, we are always trying to see that somebody else should complete us and somebody else should make us loved. And that doesn't work. Interestingly, such people will always be combined with people who won't give you love because they push you to love yourself.
The next question is, how to deal with the fear of committing in a relationship? The fear of committing in a relationship.
Well, you have to really do some inner child work and see where this commitment issue is coming from. Someone who cannot so it's really a large question. So it depends on why you're afraid of committing, you see. So that's when you can kind of see which way to go. If you're scared of committing because you don't know how to be loyal, or you're scared of committing because you don't know if the other person will be loyal, or if you're scared about other challenges in relationships and you don't want to face them. So it depends on what it is that you're afraid of commitment. So you're basically saying that relationships are scary, you see. So it's a deep inability to have a good relationship with yourself. So when you start that, then it kind of shifts everything.
Thank you, ma'am. So, people, do you have any more questions? And yes, the feedback form is on the chat box. Please utilize it to provide your valuable feedback on the session. And your comments, please provide honest comments with respect to your likes and our improvement points. We will definitely consider all those. So we will continue the question and answer sessions while you fill in the feedback forms. So if you have more questions, please go ahead and type with us on the chat box.
Does anybody have any questions on some of the practices I spoke of, like sitting with fire and water and earth and breath work? You can ask me.
They just want to be informed about more sessions. Ma'am, do you also take like individual sessions? Like, could you please give us some
One-on-one
light about that?
sessions.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Okay. So, yes, I have a team of people. We give one-on-one breathwork sessions. We have a team all over the world. So I connect people with, depending on whose energy is needed for somebody to heal, I connect them to that person, and then they can take sessions. And then we do 9-day retreats where we take people through the whole rebirthing, and they're certified with breathwork, and they can start offering sessions to others. Now with Abundant Life, I'm doing a course next week, and we might be doing more courses regularly to help people with small techniques that can help on a daily basis. You know, so yeah, all of it, one-on-one sessions and group sessions.
And what do we like? This is my personal question. Like, what do we expect out of those sessions? Like, what should be my expectation? That what is my outcome of those sessions?
From my session today,
From the individual and group sessions that you were sharing.
sorry, if you take an individual session with me, is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So, what should be
Breathwork
my
sessions.
expectation for the outcome? Yes, ma'am.
It's best not to expect. That's when energy heals most. When we are too much in our mind and analyzing, then energy doesn't work. That's why most cognitive behavior therapists strongly cannot understand how energy therapy works at all. They get really caught up with the result and, what to do. And energy work cannot be understood. You have to experience it. And it takes its time. It's a journey. So it's best not to expect anything and just give yourself openly to somebody you really trust, a healer, and then start healing. Yeah. But you have to intuitively trust the healer and check their background. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much for that. So there's one person who has asked, can I always get back to you later with my questions?
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I gave my email address.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So the other question is, I have fear of water and I feel so scared when I go near water. How do I heal it?
Well, if you don't have a memory of it from this life, like as a child, maybe your teacher, swimming teacher, pushed you in the water, or maybe you fell in the water and you were afraid if you'll die, or you couldn't breathe, or maybe you saw somebody else drowning. If there's no memory of why this fear came from or how it came from, then there's a high possibility it's related to a different lifetime. So you'll have to do some regression work and see if there's any more past beyond this life that's there. So that can help.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. The next question says, some time ago, when I was praying on something, I had vivid flashes of my entire childhood. And I remembered several instances that connected to some of my behavior now. Then I did the Hoponopo ritual from my heart.
Beautiful.
I've also been having dreams of my childhood or in my childhood setting almost every day. What does this mean, ma'am?
It means you are ready to heal your childhood. It's coming to the surface from the subconscious mind. It's coming out. And so you should use this to really actively do some inner child work, to get in touch and see if you can start off some serious inner child work. That's what's happening. And secondly, thank you for talking about Ho'oponopono. It's a beautiful, beautiful. It's a song everybody can check out on YouTube. You just say Ho'oponopono meditation or Ho'oponopono song, and and you play it, and they explain on what the song is about. I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. It's a beautiful way. They are words that you're saying to yourself and your own energy for attracting a challenge, and and clearing it with those words, loving words. It's wonderful. So everybody can try it out.
Okay, the next question says, what is meant by healthy relationship? I mean, how would one know if exactly relationship is healthy or toxic?
If you're not happy in it, that's a good sign. But that's a good question. Let me get a book. I wasn't prepared for that question, but it's a great question. So I'm going to read what a healthy relationship means. Okay.
Sure, ma'am. So while ma'am gets a book, people keep posting your questions on the chat box. We are taking one by one. So most of the questions are getting answered. And also, please fill in the feedback forms for us to understand your perspectives with respect to this session, your takeaways.
It's a beautiful question. Thank you for asking. I'm going to be reading from this particular book. This is my breathwork manual. I'm trying to find the page. Ah, okay. So I'll read a little bit of what is a healthy adult, and then I'll read a little bit on a healthy relationship. Okay. A healthy adult is somebody who has a personal connection with the divine, who knows that they are creating their own reality, who is aware and heals their emotional mind, and is willing to heal and learn more. A healthy adult is committed to maintaining high standards of personal integrity and aligning themselves to the divine for the greatest good. Someone who does spiritual purification practices, which is basically sitting with fire, water, earth, and air, who takes responsibility for their emotions, who knows how to give and receive, who knows how to say yes and no, and can receive a yes and no, who has a good high self esteem and does not compare themselves with others, who's a free thinker, who works on something they love, who's committed to the service of others and builds harmonious relationships, and always chooses love and cooperation rather than competition. Someone who takes full responsibility for their spiritual, environmental, and human effects of all their activities, and has a sense of humor about themselves and about life. Now I'll read about relationship. In a true, authentic relationship, each person is supporting the other's progress on their healing journey. I'll say that again. In a true, authentic relationship, each person is supporting the other's progress on their healing journey. So we are together in it to heal, allowing full expression and exploration. This is even more present within intimate relationships. What makes the beauty and magic of a relationship is that each person is sharing their true self and deep feelings and allowing each other the space to do so. Through this, they are creating more intimacy, whilst powerful healing energies are being awakened. In order to build such an alive and wonderful relationship, both people need to be willing to trust each other, dare to show their vulnerability, process their fear of being hurt, be willing to let go of the false ego, and humbly connect with the source of their being. Because we have been hurt in the past, especially at birth, and felt betrayed by loved ones, most people are afraid to share their deep feelings and thus protect themselves in relationship. This leads to stagnation in the relationship, and people then start to play roles or repeat patterns from the past instead of healing them. Is that good? That's what a
Wow. Wow.
healthy
It was
relationship.
really amazing to listen, especially from you, ma'am. It was very amazing to listen to that. Okay. Moving on to the next person. I'm usually concerned about the compatibility. Like, is this person good for me? How do I deal with it?
First, you have to start looking at what parts of you are you incompatible with. Most of us don't get along with ourselves. So it's obviously we'll never get along with somebody else. So start looking at patterns where you are not compatible to yourself. And then trust in your intuition. If somebody is not your match, then when you are around them, you will feel uncomfortable and not be yourself. And that's a sign that you should get away. Don't make something work. And maybe I would also say effortlessness. Your relationship should be effortless. It should flow. The conflict also should flow. The resolving of the conflict also should flow. Both need to have a beautiful dance, you see.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So the next question says, I was taught from the very childhood to love others and serve others. And in this process, I forgot to love myself. Is it possible to start now at the age of 45?
Of course, I'm 41. I'm company to you. You can start at any time. You can start at 90. The point is to start.
Perfect. Okay, the next question says, I have a question on how to deal with mental moral shifts in a healthy relationship.
Mental, moral shifts. I don't understand what that means.
So mental model shifts are basically like when we change ourselves. Like now we are working from home, so instead of going to office, we are like channelizing ourselves to work from home. So that's the basic
There's
idea
a
of
model
mental.
shift.
So how to
Okay.
deal with that in healthy
So the
relationship?
yeah, so basically, see, each of us is changing all the time. So as long as I'm not fixed to something as this is what will make me happy, it becomes easy to flow. So for me, doing breath work and my water work and my all of it has made me more and more flexible every day. And so my life is getting much better. Every year is better than the previous year, you see. So that's how we can take the journey. And the more we are connected to our intuition, the easier it becomes to go with the flow instead of staying fixed and be able to adjust.
Thank you, ma'am. And okay, there is one request. So at the beginning of the session, spiritual paths were mentioned. Could you please elaborate on it?
So spiritual path means to go within to find answers. So like I said, see, if you have to analyze in a different way, if you have a challenge, like let's say now coronavirus is going on, so how are some people analyzing it? Practical ways, you see. I have to do this, wear a mask, don't go out, stay 3 feet away, or don't travel, don't do this, don't do that. You see, there are many rules. Those are practical ways. If I have to handle it spiritually, what will I do? Which is what I've been doing in the last few months, is saying, the moment everything shut down, we said, okay, Since I've been into many spiritual retreats, I know that that's how evolution happens. So whenever I go to a spiritual retreat, there's no internet, there's no connection with the world, no newspaper. I am completely just with myself. And so that's what's happening to the whole planet. You have to just face yourself right now. So instead of just focusing on the practical aspect of it, if I can look at what's going on in my inner journey, what is this trigger of the virus doing to me? The fact that I can't talk to people, not go to meet people, what's that doing to me? If I'm angry, then I have to use something to get the anger out, punch a pillow or punch a punching bag, work with my anger, get it out. Or if there are other issues that come up, I'm stuck at home, I'm so bored, I don't know what to do. So you start facing all the challenges within us that we've been running away from. Okay, so if I have to look at it spiritually, I will start working on whatever's coming up for me instead of only focusing on how to run away in some way or keep busy all the time on the phone all the time or watching movies all the time. Instead of running away from something, I will look within to find answers. So that is the spiritual way, to look within to see how can I use this trigger to evolve, to grow, what's going on inside me. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much on that. So, people, are there any more questions or any more areas of the presentation that you would need more clarification about, or how to go about, or anything like that?
You're welcome to register for the course next week. It'll be wonderful to take you all through deeper techniques. Sandhya, you would be sending the course details to everybody who's participated here, right?
Yes, ma'am. And it's Sanjana.
Sanjana, sorry.
No
Sanjana, yes.
problem.
Sanjana, yeah.
Yeah. So yes. So I think with that, let me also have a check with the YouTube live. So okay. So we don't have more questions as of now. Yes. So we have one more. Could you explain how to practice the fire technique?
Yeah, so you can use a oven or this any metal container or a cement pot to burn wood. You can use that too. It has to basically be something that can takes that much heat. So uh, anything that can take heat. I live in an apartment, so you can sit by the window if it works, and if you're allowed to, you can burn some dry wood. You ask carpenters to give you some dry leftover wood, and they tend to give. You can start using that, and if you're sitting with a family, the whole family can sit together, and it's wonderful. It's good to sit as a family and not mix families from different houses. So whoever is living in the same house can sit together because we usually share energies. So yeah. So basically anything that can take the heat, a metal,
Hmm.
you know,
Great.
yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much for that.
Is that
Uh,
it? Yeah.
we have another question. It says, how do we deal with existential crisis, ma'am?
Once you connect, you see, basically you have an existential crisis because you don't know who you are and you don't know where you're heading. So once you connect with yourself and then you get to know who you are, then your own soul will start to show you which way you need to go and why you are born. And then there is no crisis anymore, The crisis is being disconnected with ourselves. That's the biggest crisis the whole world is going through. We don't know how to connect with our own self. We are very disconnected and always looking outside to feel alive and you know yeah.
Okay. So there's one more request which says, could you please talk more about the breath work?
Yeah, sure. uh Breath work is see, you see this, I can't see myself, so I don't know what's showing. Yeah, so this is the manual. It was founded by Leonard Orr He's my teacher, my guru, my trainer. He's just a fantastic person who changed the lives of millions of people. So what happened is Leonard Orr was in a bathtub just for bath, basically. And then he realized suddenly his womb memory started to come up. And then he was taken aback because he never expected it. It was shocking. And after that, he realized that the bathtub experience gives in those womb memories. And then he just relaxed and breathed, and they would clear up. And that's how rebirthing when breathwork was born. So then he started exploring and experimenting with it, and then started giving, telling other people, and people started to try it, and then they realized it's true. Things were clearing up when they breathed in a certain way, and then a lot of their subconscious memories were clearing up, and life started changing. They started feeling more connected. They were started feeling more alive. And then he realized that a bathtub session is too intense sometimes. So that's when he said, let's give 10 breathwork sessions to people, not in the bathtub, but what we call dry sessions. So we basically lay them on a mat, a yoga mat, and then they breathe in a rhythmic pattern. And then as they're breathing, they can feel sensations in their body and energy flowing, sometimes tetany or stiffness in the body, because we store different kind of trauma and emotions in our body, and all of that comes out as sensations. And we as therapists keep telling them to continue relaxing and breathing, and these sensations, everything passes. And then people wake up feeling so energized and alive. And then it takes about 10 sessions to teach somebody to learn the technique so they can go and practice by themselves. And after they take 10 sessions and after they get enough experience, then we take them through water rebirthing, which is helping them breathe with a snorkel in a bathtub. And then they go through those 10 sessions. And then we usually tell them to attend a 9-day retreat every year. So it's like a rejuvenation. You get rejuvenated for every year and you heal more. So when I went through it, I loved it so much. I started attending 2 retreats every year. So it was really intense, but I really wanted to clear a lot of stuff. I did that. And then I also went to Leonard Orr in Virginia and stayed with him for a year, because he had healed so much that his energy, just being around him, would bring up so much of my suppressed issues, and I would heal so much. So I took my daughter and I went, and we healed a lot. So yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for taking up that question. Okay, the next question, we have a really long question. Okay, so I am facing extensive anxiety and suppressing feelings, due to which I am on verge of ruining my in family relationships with my parents and brother. Due to that, I am on the verge of even quitting my job. I don't want to do it. I know I am doing wrong, but I am unable to express it to anyone. I can't vent it out. Any input as to how I can heal myself, please let me know.
So first start with your 20 connected breaths. Do it like 10 to 20 times every day, morning, afternoon, evening. That's like a prescription if you want to start with. And then you do the connecting yourself with hugging a pillow, which I did in this talk, and see how that feels after 1 or 2 weeks. And then you can start fire. It heals a lot of anxiety. And come over for breathwork sessions, one-on-one breathwork sessions.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for taking up that question. The next one is, how can I strengthen myself mentally?
Mental strength. You have to know who you are to kind of be mentally strong. I'm guessing that when you say mentally strong, you mean somebody who doesn't get hurt very easily or doesn't get convinced by somebody too easily. That's what I'm wondering. That's what you mean by mental strength. Once you start healing your emotions, you'll see that you have more control over your thoughts. You can decide what thought you want to have. The thought doesn't take over you, but you decide this is what I want to think. That becomes easier. The beginning, it's hard when there's so much anxiety and pain and everything. It's really hard. But once you start healing, all of it will start getting easier. And that's how you'll see that you start becoming much stronger.
Thank you, ma'am. So there's the next question says, how to do inner child work?
You have to come for a session for that. I would have taken you through this, but it's too intense sometimes, and I cannot leave people feeling horrible, so I did not take you through that. So there are books. You can Google inner child work, and there's lots of stuff available. There is a book called Homecoming. I forget the author's name, but there's a book called Homecoming. So you can try reading that, and it might give you insight. I do some inner child work in the course that I'm starting next week with Abundant Life. I teach a few techniques on how to connect and heal. So doing that would kind of give you an idea. But otherwise, Homecoming, and you can Google inner child, and you should get a lot of information. And then get in touch with me on my email, and I can guide you further. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So people, we will be taking two more questions. After that,
Yes, by John Bradshaw. Yes, thank you. Yes, Homecoming.
Okay. So the next question is, how to improve decision-making skill and avoid being confused?
My answer would be to learn to be strong with your intuition. When you think you have to make a decision based on analysis, this information, the newspaper said this. Like for example, if I have to go out today, if I said, "Oh, there's 1,500 cases," I'm from Bangalore, so there's 1,500 cases every day. So which means if I go out, I'm surely going to get, infected. If I start thinking like that, I am going to think out of fear. And when we make decisions out of fear, we will invite what we are afraid of into our house, like I told you see. So if I think intuitively, I will say, okay, am I supposed to go today? And my intuition will say, leave after 2 hours. I will not question it. Why it's saying that, I don't know. But my job is only to listen to that. So once you learn to really work from intuition, that's when your decision making skills become really easy, because you're not hurting your brain and your mind with so much information and analysis and saying I have to make the right decision in the right way. When you trust your intuition, you're actually taking help from higher sources, higher divine sources, your soul basically, which knows so much more truth than your own mind. So that's when your intuition says, you decide based on that. Yeah.
Okay. The next question says, how to get in touch with self or figure out oneself?
I think I answered that. To do a few exercises that I taught today about hugging the pillow and talking to yourself, breath work, doing 20 connected breaths.
So that will help us in figuring out ourselves as
Connecting, starting the connection with ourselves.
well. Okay. Okay.
And then you have to heal. And then we have to heal our childhood to know who we are. Otherwise, we are really who somebody else told us to be, how our parents told us what we should be, how the culture, the society is telling us to be. And, we are always doing the what is right thing or wrong thing, like that. We start thinking that way, very conditioned. We don't know who we are. Most don't. And then people become parents, and then they're telling their children how to be. And then the cycle continues. We have to know who we are. Only when we heal our childhood, we kind of connect with who we are. Who do we want to be?
Thank you, ma'am. So yes, people, for the ones who are asking for the recording session, it will be available on YouTube as soon as it's uploaded. It will be available on YouTube probably by tomorrow and after that. And yes, ma'am, this one.
And would you be sending it? Would you be sending the recording to everyone who has registered?
We will be sharing the YouTube link to the ones.
Yes, that's what I meant. So that everybody has a link and knows how to get it on YouTube.
Yeah, yeah. So that will be shared to everybody who has registered. And there is one more question. Every night before I sleep, I get few bad thoughts. How can I avoid them?
So try not to avoid them. If it's every night, then just before you sleep, take a notebook and write all your bad thoughts down. Write down all the bad thoughts that are coming to you. Look at them. Look at all the bad thoughts. So you're not running away from them and avoiding them. You're really looking at them in the face. Write all the bad thoughts, read them to yourself, and then you do your 20 connected breaths a few times. So, which means you'll do like 3, 4 cycles of 20 connected breaths. And then you hug yourself and say, I love you. I love you, though you have these bad thoughts. I love you with them. And then see if you can go into short meditation, visualizing yourself sitting in a beautiful white room with flower petals falling on you and petals all around you, you know. And you can do that. You can play some soothing music as you do that. Or there are some meditations available to say, how do I relax before I sleep? You can do that meditation. And it's good to do that after you've written all your bad thoughts down, because if you're trying to avoid, then you're suppressing, and that doesn't help. You have to face them. So write the thoughts down and then go into some kind of meditation. See if that works.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. People, we will be sharing the YouTube link, the recorded version for this session to you via whoever has been registered with us in the WhatsApp group. We will definitely share it with you. Do join us for the next upcoming series of webinars as well. And also visit our social media sites, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube to get updates about the next sessions and also with respect to the psychological services. So, okay, we have two last questions. So we will be taking these two last questions, after which, if you have more questions, do write to us. Do write to us. Do write to ma'am also. I'll share ma'am's email ID again in this group and I'll share it in the WhatsApp group. So if you want to connect with her personally, go ahead. I will also share with you Abundant Life Group's mail ID. So if you want to have further information, do connect with us. Okay. So the next question is, I have problems with getting angry soon without even understanding. How do I deal with that?
So much anger is coming only when you're hurt. Anger comes when there's pain, and when we don't want to face the pain, it comes out as anger. So working on healing your pain will you'll see that it becomes easier to handle the anger. So do some inner child work, come over for the course. Doing some inner healing will help, and that's the approach I would say. The other thing you can do is start working out. If working out helps in heal anger, like running or jogging or vigorous exercise helps. The other is to schedule a little time every day where you can punch a cushion or a couch or something, where you're physically allowing yourself to be angry and saying it's okay. And love yourself and say, I love myself. Yes, I'm angry and I'm okay. I am angry, but I love myself with this anger and I'm going to figure something out. Instead of hating yourself or feeling like you're not okay, say, I'm going to be okay and I love myself with this anger and I'm going to figure this out. So give yourself like 30 minutes every day at some point, morning or evening. Morning is good. But you're only punching the pillow and then just scold whoever comes to your mind. Do it in privacy so that you're free to say whatever you want. And then see if that's helping you after some time. See how your days go once you do that. Once you really give yourself permission and say it's okay to be angry and I'm going to be angry. And yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. So the last question that we would be taking for this session is that how not to be reactive in an argument.
So it's good to take time. Reaction basically comes because you're triggered and there's something going on within. So if you can start working on yourself by using the trigger to know who you are and where this wound is coming from, it starts becoming really easy to uh, to become less reactive. It's so when you start doing this every day, you'll see that you become less and less reactive and more introspective when something happens. And the other thing is to always use the beautiful words of sorry, forgive me, I want to change, and I want to change this. So if you've reacted, then you have to break your ego and humble yourself to go and say, forgive me, I need to figure this out and let me see. So sometimes what I do is if somebody says something to me and I react, I ask them to repeat it to me. So to check where it's taking me. If suppose somebody says, let's say Sanjana says, Christina, you're dumb. Then I'll say, Sanjana, repeat it to me. So I'll say, so she'll say, Christina, you're dumb, you're dumb, you're dumb. So I will keep closing my eyes and asking them to repeat and see that where is this taking me? And then I might get a memory that says, shit, wait a minute. I know why I'm getting so angry. Once I know that, then allow the anger to come, punch or hit or scold or write bad words or something to get the anger out of the system, and then maybe burn the paper and then see if the reaction changes. So that way you can see that we start to change.
Thank you, ma'am. There's one more question. It says, how to let go of the partner when he left me and I keep coming back to him, really observing myself that I'm basically begging. Even I am aware of this pattern from my childhood, from my father.
Exactly. That's beautiful. You're aware. So it's being needy. It's feeling like you're abandoned without him and you're empty without him. But the truth is, you're not. And he cannot make you whole. It's just an illusion. That's why he keeps going away, because when you're needy, it can be very hard for the other person to stay because they themselves must be having their own challenges. So how to make you feel complete, you see, it becomes very challenging. So the best way is to just heal your inner child and heal how you felt looking at your father, and then work towards feeling complete within you, learning to be joyful within you, and then you'll see that men come to you and you don't have to go to them. It's your energy. Completely, it's in your energy. It has nothing to do with anything else.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you
Okay.
for taking all the questions. So, thank you, people, for joining on this. So, I have added the email ID. So, if you have more questions, so please write to us or write to ma'am if you have specific questions regarding this session. So, you could always write this. So, I'm handing over the dice back to Jocelyn, ma'am, to uh, to take over.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am, for this wonderful session. I can really see by the response by the participants asking questions and all, because it was very relatable, and because it is all about social relationship or relationship in general. So everyone faces issues or want to make our lives better, especially in terms of relationships. So by this I can see how effective and useful it was. So thank you so much, ma'am, for this informative and very effective session and taking out time to share your knowledge with us. Thank you.
Thank you to Abundant Life. Say thank you to Samuel, and it was wonderful. It's beautiful to share with other people, and I would really like to know if everybody used these techniques and how it helped, including you both from Abundant Life.
Yes, ma'am, definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
good. Thank you.
And thanks to all the participants as well for taking out time and joining this webinar. So as it has been informed before as well, so this is the first webinar that we are having, and we've planned to conduct a series of webinar which will be regarding all the from your daily life issues and all, which will help your in your development. So thank you all, and do give feedback so that we can improve or include your ideas and as well your suggestions. And we will be sharing the links for the social media sites so that you can follow us for further updates, and be connected with us on the WhatsApp group as well, so we will be updating you with other webinars as well. So thank you everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.